Hello, my name is Michael Millar, and my video is on the transportation system of trucking, motor carrier safety regulations, actually. It's April 21st, 2024. I chose this set of regulations because my job deals with semis and other forms of motor transportation, such as hubs and vans. I'm familiar with a few regulations, at least pertaining to my place of employment. As motor transportation is the most common form of transportation, I feel it's one of the most important to study. My job's rules are simple, such as placing wheel chocks by the tires of trucks, vans, or hubs before loading or unloading them. There are other safety mechanisms like ensuring that the vehicle is turned off when loading or unloading. These are all part of my job. These aren't federal safety regulations. These are just the ones that I'm most familiar with. First off, a little bit of history. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration was created in 1999 by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Improvement Act. It created standards for operation of commercial vehicles in interstate commerce. It's an agency within the Department of Transportation, the DOT, whose goal is to reduce the number of accidents involving buses and large trucks. The FMCSA, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, prevents many injuries and saves countless lives every year. Now, the regulations created by the FMCSA create standards for the operation of commercial vehicles used in interstate commerce. These regulations apply not just to drivers, but to supervisors, dispatchers, and fleet managers. The first truck safety rules were created in 1936 by the Bureau of Motor Carriers. The DOT, Department of Transportation, was formed in 1966. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations are rules that exist to reduce the fatalities and accidents caused by commercial vehicles. Now, those subjected to the regulations are if you use a commercial vehicle across state lines. The gross vehicle weight or combination weight is 10,001 pounds or more. The vehicle is used to carry 9 to 15 passengers for compensation. The vehicle is used to carry 15 passengers or more regardless of compensation, and you are carrying hazardous materials. Now, the list of regulations is extremely long, somewhat difficult to sift through. This video would probably be an hour if I went through every single one of them, so I'm going to be focusing on the most common violations, which are inoperable lamps, like a broken tail light, headlight, and the other lights on the truck. Being pulled over for this can result in a vehicle inspection costing time and potentially leading to the discovery of other violations. Just like when you get pulled over for a broken tail light, it can turn into a big headache very quickly. The next one is operating a commercial vehicle without a periodic inspection. Without documentation, you can't prove that it's been done. FMCSA inspections are to be done yearly. Now, if the vehicle is in an accident, you have to provide proof that an inspection is up to date, or you will be liable for injuries or damage. Another aspect is brakes out of adjustment. Just one brake out of adjustment means the loss of 10% braking ability. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're talking about something as big as a semi, that can really cause problems very quickly. 2 brakes out of adjustment is a loss of 20% braking ability. Now, if this is the case, the DOT will put the truck out of service until repairs are made. Sticking with brakes, commercial vehicles must be sure that all repairs and maintenance are in compliance with the FMCSA. Obviously, unsafe brakes are a serious hazard for the driver and anyone else in close proximity on the road. Next up, we have defective or not working lights or reflective devices. This is a little bit different than a broken taillight or headlight because these are the lights you see all over the truck. Sometimes the reflective materials also. The upside is that daily inspections, if done properly, can catch these. Like, by done properly, I mean the driver gets out of the cab and inspects the truck from the outside. An oil or a grease leak. Even if it's a minor leak, rain runoff can carry these fluids into streams and rivers, causing pollution. Daily inspections. You need to be able to prove that daily inspections are done and any faults are corrected. Paper logs or electronic logs can be used. Sorry, having computer issues. My job uses paper logs. For example, not just for the semis, but we drive forklifts as well. We have to use paper logs that are audited every year, and if even one day is not done, it can result in big fines. We do this just to catch any issues as they arise and get them fixed before they can be put back into service. The next one's kind of obvious. It's the last one also. A flat tire or a tire that's leaking such that you can hear it. This is usually caught in the daily inspection. Now, I've actually seen semis at my job end up with flat tires, and it's a real big deal. Obviously, they can't drive in that condition, because even with a passenger car, driving with a flat tire is a very bad idea. Anything can happen. You can have a blowout, the car can go off the road. We definitely don't want that with a semi. In my research, I learned that these safety rules are in place for a good reason. We definitely don't want something as big as a semi to have issues on the road, because that can be extremely dangerous, not just for the driver, but for others on the road. I personally am glad these rules exist. I'm also glad of daily checks. As I stated earlier, we do that at my job, and I think it really helped. For example, you can catch something like a leaking hose, which you probably wouldn't have caught had you not been looking more carefully. And that can cause issues, especially with hydraulics. I know this is about motor carriers, but I'm using forklifts as an example because that's what I'm most familiar with. Leaking hydraulic hose. You don't realize it, you're picking something up. The hydraulic hose can bust, and your load can come smashing onto the floor, which obviously you don't want. Very big hazard. So, in conclusion, I already knew these were a big deal, but reading through them and some of the most common violations sort of solidified it for me. Made it a little bit scary to think of the things that can go wrong. Now, my references were from, I'm not sure how to say it, lytx.com, Lytx.com, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations Explained, from October 20th, 2021. Next, we have Understanding Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations, FMCSR, Rules, Exceptions, Penalties, and More. Retrieved from whiparound.com/Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations, FMCSR. I thank you for watching and going over this with me.